we've got a lot to complain about, but today we're going to be complaining about Facebook and how Facebook's screwing around with you and how you could kind of prevent them from doing such.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of different messages, and there's a real reason why we were actually going to do something else today, but we decided to jump on this because of something recently that happened with us, and we'll actually share the entire story. There's a lot more to the message than just Facebook.
Yep.
It's kind of going out there using your skill and research set to be able to solve a problem for somebody and create yourself to be that authority figure that people look at, to make sure that, once again, you put yourself in the driver's seat and that you are able to start closing business. The one thing I can safely say is that every business, the biggest thing that a business can do to improve sales, period, whether it be a service-based business or whether it be a product-based business or just a retail outlet or whatever else, it's all about trust, right? So the more that, when you come into a situation and you can make them trust you because you're the authority, and you can show that you're the authority because of your knowledge and because of your skill sets, it makes it a whole lot easier for you to bridge that gap as far as being able to close.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's what it comes down to.
It's all about trust, guys, and I guess the best way to get trust is, it's really two-pronged, we've learned. The first and the biggest is by having a interpersonal relationship, either directly or through some intermediary. A lot of people like to talk about getting past the gatekeeper. Well, we've been joking around. The best way to get past the gatekeeper is to have a goddamn key.
Buy yourself a key.
Exactly. Buy yourself a key. Make connections, talk, network, and you will very quickly find yourself in a position where you can start doing business at levels you couldn't even dream of a few months before. It's all about who you know, especially in really any game, but especially in business, and that's why everybody's here today, is because they are doing business or want to be doing business better. So, with that said, let's jump on into the standard slide that you all have probably seen before, except unless you're new, which there might be one or two. I haven't actually scrolled through the list today, but we do have our standard members here, the ones who are asking questions, and great to see you all. Actually got a good crowd today, especially considering the delay. So
freaking huge crowd today.
Yeah, people must have missed us. Been a little bit, and as I'm saying that, even more people are jumping in. All right, so welcome to SEMeasy. If you don't know what this is, then just get out or go ask somebody, because everybody else knows. You're late to the game.
Frankie, what's going on, brother? Frankie sent the message. Frankie, we got to connect, my friend. I've been running around like a maniac. We lost Jogger. We traded him for, I'm a huge New Jersey Devils fan, right?
Yeah, he's going wah wah wah.
Yeah, wah wah wah. Yeah, we lost Jogger. We actually traded him for 2 dinosaurs and a pack of smokes. The oldest player in hockey. Anyway. All right, Frankie, let's connect after, brother.
All right. So, with that said, let's jump into it. And yeah, you went on that little tangent there, and the attentive rate went from 78 down to 32. Nobody likes your hockey stories, Andrew.
I'm going to play a game tonight, so.
For all those who aren't focused on the screen, now's your time to focus, because we are jumping into the good stuff. So, the reason we're all here to talk about, the thing we're here to talk about, is this Facebook fraud.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting, because we haven't really talked about Facebook all too much, have we, Andrew?
No, honestly, and we don't do very much. We don't do a lot of Facebook marketing. We don't do.
Oh, see, Justin's here.
Justin's here. I didn't see you, Justin. You didn't type anything, and actually, Justin, we're connecting right after the phone call. So.
Yep. See. There's so many freaking people here right now that I'm not even bothering to scroll through the attendees list. So
if you don't write a comment, we don't see that you're here.
Exactly.
This is it's a two-pronged story. I mean, one, the information will definitely help you if you have a Facebook page, Facebook group. You have a client that has a Facebook page or a Facebook group. But more importantly, it's sort of the overlying theme of, like I said, we don't do Facebook advertising. I mean, we'll assist our customers if they want to do Facebook retargeting. No problem there. We actually don't do the Facebook ads. We just set up the retargeting for them, and we kind of let them do their thing. But well, Jake, why don't we just jump in? We'll.
All right. So yeah. So just explain a little bit. We don't really do Facebook, advertisements itself, but you all know that in the massive sites, our giant sales nets that we've created, that we have the ability to overlay a retargeting pixel on whatever landing page we so choose. So that's sort of how we got into this whole discussion with them. And
so what happened was we had like go to the next screen, because I kind of love the, look at this. It was like a whale of a client, right? So this whale of a client we were speaking to.
And the whale is so big that they don't even fit all the way
They
on
don't
the
even
page.
fit on the page, right? So we were talking to them, I guess about a week and a half ago, and we had started to put proposals together for them, and they were very interested in the whole Facebook retargeting aspect of things, because they do a lot of stuff on Facebook. They got like over 100,000 likes.
Yep. So just a little backstory though. We went in, we pitched them. We had our little key to the gate, and we got to sit down with the actually C-level employees as well as some of the tech staff, and we showed our stuff and did our whole presentation and powwow session, and they were extremely interested. They want to bite. So what we did from there is we went into our strategic engagement with them, and through the course of that, where it's almost like a QA where we learn more about them and they learn more about us, and we figure out where all our needs can align. They had mentioned that they had this Facebook group, and they were actually very proud of their Facebook group.
Yeah, they were actually really proud, right? We have over 100,000 likes, and we have an employee that just constantly is working on Facebook, and they're putting some Twitter posts out here and there, and we really want to grow our business out on that social level too.
Yep. And of course I jumped the gun and I was like, well, did you buy them? I mean, not thinking this brand obviously would have over 100,000 likes.
Yeah.
So the only time I've ever seen that with one of my clients was when, they had purchased that many in the past. And they got a little indignant.
Yeah, they did actually. And what happened was they turned around and right off the bat they were like, whoa, no, Facebook doesn't allow you to buy likes. You can't buy likes. We're not going to go to we're not going to risk our, do you think that we would risk our brand going out to to some little company to buy likes for our page? No, we definitely wouldn't do that. We really need to play within the confines of Facebook.
Exactly. And at this point, we were, Andy and I quickly realized that we were speaking a little bit out of turn because we're not the Facebook experts here.
Right. I was just curious about how they got to that number as quick as they did.
Exactly. We're always trying to learn, but
ultimately what wound up happening was they go, no, we didn't buy Facebook ads, Facebook likes. They go, we actually, we promoted our page through Facebook, and we got the Facebook likes through Facebook. We actually bought the likes through Facebook themselves.
Yeah, but through advertising, targeted Facebook advertising.
We paid Facebook to get likes.
Exactly.
That's what they did. That's actually what they said. And like when we were talking about, did you buy the likes? They automatically thought that we were referring to, doing something bad, right? And like going to a third party to buy likes, that would be bad. But no, if we do it naturally through Facebook, then it's perfectly fine because Facebook has set those limits up, right?
Yeah, plus that the people you are talking to express interest in your product. They're real people, and you're going to be able to communicate them.
Absolutely,
right?
because
that's what Facebook promotes.
Absolutely. We'll go to the next slide here real fast.
Yep.
So we basically asked them, so how did you look to get more exposure on Facebook? Because obviously at this point they're talking about retargeting ads and stuff like that, and they're obviously like, well, the more likes we get, the more exposure we get, because we'll post something and then their friends will see it and their friend's friend will see it through feeds.
And this is pretty much where we were going. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I mean, this is the story we've all been told. This is what we believe. But, I guess we'll go to the next.
Yeah, so basically, this was,
This was their response, was verbatim. They had their social media manager there, and it was almost like he memorized this because he was almost reading it back to us word for word.
He basically says, no, we can't buy likes on Facebook, but we can promote our page, and we're going to promote our page to those people that that really care about us and really want to see us.
Yep.
This is the little ad that you'll see next to your Facebook page, right? And it says, promote your page, connect with the people who matter to you. Well, the only problem with all of this was that now, and it's always interesting at one of these meetings, right, when you start to sit down and there is a trust level that they already had with us.
Yep.
In some respects, because of the fact that
well, I guess before we break into the huge analysis, explain how we got there.
Sure.
So at this point in time, we kind of glanced over that and continued working on through our engagement foundation and finishing out the questionnaire. And at the end of it, what we always do is we go ahead and finish up our research. We have their full story, they have our full story, and we come up with proposals and further courses of action. If we need, if they need consultation before we can even take action, that's what we recommend.
Well, but the girl in the meeting actually pipes up and says, and it was like one of those. I don't even think she realized what she was saying when she said it, and she's like, we have 100,000 people that like our page. It was like over 100,000, but when we post stuff out, we're not getting a lot of engagement, and actually we're not getting a lot of reach at all.
That's good. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's what stuck in our head as we left, even though we had no sound guys.
Can anybody else hear us?
Anybody else having an audio problem here? Looks like Justin could still hear us, and I see the microphone thing bouncing back.
You hear you. Nope.
No sound issues. We hear you well. Audio's all good. Awesome. So,
John Cena, I can't see you.
I can't see you, yeah.
So, here, you know what? Just tell Peter to jump out and jump back in.
Yeah, sorry about that, Peter. It's just the...
well, the problem is he can't hear you right now.
Oh, he can't hear. Yeah, that would... Frank Schwartz is saying, I can't hear you. How would you be saying I can't hear you if you're responding? All right, Peter, sorry. And you just talk for a minute so I could type.
So anyway, she kind of basically said, look, we got over 100,000 people. We kind of paid a lot of money to into the promotion of our page and everything else, but we're not getting, our reach is pathetic. We're not really reaching any of those people. Why is that? They didn't understand it. They understood Facebook from the aspect of, well, if we get a lot of likes, we get a lot of people, and we start posting stuff, well, then lots of people should see it. So at which point the conversation now starts to shift, and the big honcho in the room turns around and says, well, why is that? If we have all of these likes, why aren't people seeing the post?
Yeah, what's with the engagement? And it was sort of falling right into line with the conversation we were having earlier about how our technologies could help them reach a larger audience. But the concern was brought up, well, what happens with that audience? And we had to explain the difference. Like, we knew right off the bat there's a huge difference between somebody who's going and doing a search and then clicking on something and visiting a page being presented with that advertisement right there versus, somebody being a fan on Facebook, someone who liked your page, and what that means on the, the broad scope. And, we do have a Facebook page. We don't use it all too much, but we know we could pay to promote a post, and we also know that there's a limited scope of engagement or even a limited scope of display of the advertisement to our audience. So we explain that to them, and they're like, oh, that makes sense, blah, blah, blah. And we pretty much moved on to the analysis phase from there on out. We finished out the engagement, moved on.
They did ask us to kind of take a look at it and see if we could come up with anything, because, they were kind of really upset with the amount of the amount of, well, I should say not the amount of, but the lack of reach that they were getting. So
yep, that's right. It was a focal point for them, even though we didn't go in there to talk about Facebook at all, really. It's just something that came up.
And I'm sure that you guys have been in plenty of meetings where you went in and, like, the conversation starts to shift to something that you really weren't in there at all, and it's kind of outside of your realm. So, basically we explained to them, obviously, we want to take a look at the analytics of your Facebook. Let's take a look at some stuff. So we started to take a look at some of the analytics in reference to their Facebook, and we started to realize that, a ton of their user base, considering they're an American-based company, a U.S.-based company, a ton of their usership was like all over the place in, developing countries.
Now these were... this social media manager wasn't dumb. It's not like they just put out, a broad a broad spectrum advertisement. They targeted it specifically to the Western countries and Europe. Those are the Western countries, not these Middle Eastern countries. But that seems to be where the majority of their user base was. And this started getting us thinking a lot more. And we took a look at their engagement. Just the engagement statistics, and we saw a steady decline over time. So this got us really thinking, what the hell is going on here?
All right, so basically what we did was like what we always do. Come on, anybody, guess what we did? We now need to figure out what the heck is actually going on here, because this is a big answer for them, and they kind of like want to get an answer before they decide that they want to start moving forward with certain, in reference to certain things, especially regarding like the Facebook retargeting and stuff like that. So, anybody? What do you think we did?
You searched on Google.
Pretty close. Pretty close.
Bought beer. Blew them. Thanks, Frank. Nope, none of those. We turned to our USPTO and asked what they were doing before the engagement. For the engagement, we started looking into patents, and what we found was...
Well, we kind of like patents a little bit.
Because they tell you a lot more than a press release will tell you. So we started looking into patents. We found Google's patent on measuring the page viewership in a social network, and actually revealed a ton of the inner workings of actually what they're doing with their display statistics. And that was pretty much what we got from the patent, or what we got from the patent was that things are really, really screwy. And they're screwy on purpose, and we wanted to really start learning why. So as Justin said, yes, you're right, we did start searching more and more on Google, but now we had direction on what to search for.
So now we actually knew what we were searching for, and what we were searching for was, okay, you know what? Your reach is all, obviously, I mean, just to summarize it, right? Your reach is solely based on your engagement. So I know that Ganti was saying before, you can get people to engage if you ask them questions, right? And yes, huge engagements usually happen on Facebook when you don't leave a wide open question. But let's say you throw up 2 images and you go, which one do you guys like the best for a logo? And now all of a sudden the conversation starts really fast, because it's really easy for somebody to just say, hey, I like A, I like B. And the engagement kind of skyrockets through the roof really quickly, right? But I can tell you that the issue here was actually it actually led us down a rabbit hole that we didn't really expect. So now that we kind of knew what we were looking for, we started looking around, obviously started doing research, because obviously we're not the Facebook experts. We're really not. So we actually came across something. And now what's really funny is you don't need to be an expert in everything, but you need to have enough knowledge to be able to push yourself into that position of trust and into that position of being the authoritative voice. So we actually found somebody else's research and found somebody else's video. Now, we're pretty much firm believers of, if you were the first person to do it, you were the person that came up with it, you give the credit to the person that's due. We came across a video, and probably the best explanation I could ever come up with myself. So we actually went back to the client, and we told them, hey, look, you know what? We actually go ahead, we went ahead, here's the patent, here's some of the information in reference to why things are happening, but you know what? Here's an awesome video, not made by us, made by a third party, which actually is solidifying exactly what we're telling you. So what we're going to do is we are going to wind up, Jake, do you have the video?
Yeah,
we're actually going to play the video. Now, this video is 8 minutes long. We're going to pop this puppy on here. Normally we don't do a webinar where we're going to play somebody else's video, but I'll tell you what, this video actually, it nails it without having to redo anything. And,
it absolutely does. So, what it's about is a Facebook fraud. And if you want to watch the video on your own, then I will paste this link in here. And you can feel free to watch it on your own. And if you're lazy, then...
oh, that went out to all.
Yep.
Okay.
It went out to everybody. So I'm going to give this a go. And
Yeah, do me a favor though, when the video starts, just let us know if you guys can hear the video properly. We tested it before.
Yep.
We just want to make sure that you guys can hear it good.
Yep, and I know in GoToWebinar it might be a little laggy, so it's if you want to click play at the same time we're going to click play, then we'll meet back here in 8 minutes. Oh, but we do have a lot of people on mobile devices who are listening in right now, and it's, you know, so we are still going to play it here as well. That's the reason why.
Have you heard of Virtual Bagel? Their Facebook page has over 4,000 likes. They use the page to promote their brilliant business model. We send you bagels via the internet, just download and enjoy. It sounds like a joke, and it is, sort of. This page was set up by BBC technology correspondent Rory Callan-Jones in 2012. He wanted to find out what is the worth of a like on a Facebook page, and so he bought some likes for Virtual Bagel. Now there are two ways to buy likes, the legitimate way and the illegitimate way. The illegitimate way is to go to a website like boostlikes.com and purchase some likes. You can get 1,000 for $70. Sites like these use click farms in developing countries like India, the Philippines, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Egypt, Indonesia, and Bangladesh. Here, employees are routinely paid just $1 per 1,000 clicks of the like button. So Facebook explicitly forbids buying likes in this way. Instead, they offer the legitimate way to pay for likes, by advertising your page. Prominently displayed is a link to get more likes, with a promise, connect with more of the people who matter to you. And this is how Virtual Bagel got its 4,000 likes. Rory Callan-Jones paid $100 to Facebook and the likes rolled in. He targeted his ad to the UK and the United States, but also to countries like Egypt, Indonesia, and the Philippines. Now, where do you think Virtual Bagel was most popular? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't the US or the UK. But within a day, he had over 1,600 likes, mostly from developing countries. Now, what was more problematic was the people who followed Virtual Bagel looked suspicious. For example, there was one Cairo-based follower whose name was Ahmed Ronaldo. His profile consisted almost exclusively of pictures of Cristiano Ronaldo, and he liked 3,000 pages. Callan-Jones also observed that his new throng of fans was particularly disengaged, just as you'd imagine those from a click farm would be. But he hadn't hired a click farm. He had paid for Facebook ads. This story was reported in July 2012. In August, Facebook reported they had identified and deleted 83 million accounts. That was 9% of the total at the time. This resulted in noticeable drops for popular singers and celebrities. So did they delete all of the fake likes? Nope. Not even close. I know because most of the likes on my Facebook page are not genuine. In May 2012, I received a number of emails from Facebook offering me $50 worth of free promotion of my page, which at the time had only 2,000 likes. My YouTube channel had 20 times that following, so I thought surely this free paid promotion could help me reach more of the people who mattered to me. And immediately I could see the results. Within just a few days, my likes had tripled, and they kept on growing, thousands per day. And after a few months, I had 70,000 Facebook likes, which matched my YouTube subscribers at the time. Now, what was weird was my posts on Facebook didn't seem to be getting any more engagement than when I just had 2,000 likes. If anything, they were getting less engagement. Now, I didn't understand why at the time, but I've since realized it's because most of those likes I was gaining through Facebook ads were not from people who were genuinely interested in Veritasium. How do I know? Well, because fake likes behave very differently from real followers. Have a look at this graph of the engagement of my Facebook followers. Now here I'm plotting countries as bubbles. So this is Canada, and the size of the bubble represents the number of likes I've received from that country. So this is the United States. It's a nice big bubble. Now I'm ranking these countries on a horizontal axis based on what percentage of the likes have engaged with my page this month. So as you can see, roughly 30% of Canadians and Americans have engaged with my page, but they are not as active as the Germans, where over 40% of my likes have engaged, and they are not as active as the Austrians, a small but passionate group of Veritasium fans at nearly 60%. These are all of the other Western countries, so you can see that it's common for between 25% and 35% of my page likes to engage with my page every month. Now here is Egypt, where less than 1% of my likes have engaged with my page. Now this is India, the Philippines, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. That's a big following, but no engagement. Together, all of these countries make up 80,000 likes. That's roughly 75% of the total likes I had before my last video. And these are the profiles that followed me when I used Facebook advertising. And they're worse than useless. Here's why. When you make a post, Facebook distributes it to a small fraction of the people who like your page, just to gauge their reaction. If they engage with it by liking, commenting, and sharing, then Facebook distributes the post to more of your likes and even their friends. Now, if you somehow accumulate fake likes, Facebook's initial distribution goes out to fewer real fans, and therefore it receives less engagement, and so consequently you reach a smaller number of people. That's how a rising number of fans can result in a drop in engagement. And from this, Facebook makes money twice over, once to help you acquire new fans, and then again when you try to reach them. I mean, your organic reach may be so restricted by the lack of engagement that your only option is to pay to promote the post. What's worse, there is no way to delete fake likes in bulk. All you can do is try to target posts around them. And I should reiterate, I never bought fake likes. I used Facebook's legitimate advertising. But the results are as if I had paid for fake likes from a click farm. Now you might think the solution to all of this is just to exclude countries with click farms from your ad campaigns. But unfortunately, the problem goes much deeper. Meet Virtual Cat, a virtual pet like none other. It's a page committed to supplying only the worst, most annoying drivel you can imagine. Only an idiot would like this page. And that's not just my opinion. That's actually what it says in the page description. And I should know because I wrote it. I created this page yesterday, and then I paid $10 to advertise the page through Facebook, targeted only to cat lovers in the United States, Canada, Australia, and the UK. Now, I expected that because I had excluded all of the big click farm countries, and because the page is so terrible, that I basically wouldn't get any likes. But within 20 minutes, I had blown through my whole budget, and I got 39 likes. So who are these people liking a blank page and costing me 25 cents a piece? All of the profiles were from the places I had targeted, mostly the US, but there was something strange about them. All of these people liked a lot of things, like hundreds and thousands of things. And a lot of the things they liked were odd, too. Like, in one account, this person liked T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. They liked Jeep, and Lexus, and Mercedes, and Volvo, and Volkswagen. They liked everything. Other accounts I saw, they liked kitchen scrubbers, and they liked mouthwash. Who reports that on their Facebook page? It baffles me. So the real mystery to me is why someone somewhere would click on ads that they didn't care about without making money from them. I mean, I don't think these clicks came from bots. They're too easy to identify and eliminate. And I also don't think for a second Facebook would pay click farms to click on those ads to generate revenue for them. So it really seems like a mystery. And then in this article, I found what I think is the most reasonable hypothesis. Click farms click the ads for free. In order to avoid detection by Facebook's fraud algorithms, they like pages other than the ones they've been paid for to seem more genuine. I mean, you can imagine 1,000 likes on a particular page coming from one geographic area in a short period of time would seem pretty suspicious. But buried in a torrent of other like activity, they would be impossible to identify. So workers at these click farms will literally click anything. I mean, where do you think Facebook's security page is most popular? Dhaka, Bangladesh. What about Google? Dhaka. What about soccer star David Beckham? It's actually Cairo. But you take my point. So wherever you're targeting, advertising your page on Facebook is a waste of money. I wish Facebook would remove the fake likes from my page and from all the others. But that would mean admitting that they have generated significant ad revenue from clicks that weren't genuine, which then suppressed the reach of pages who had low engagement, forcing those pages to pay again to reach inauthentic fans. So the truth is, Facebook benefits by maintaining this status quo, because the reality is nobody likes this many things.
Alrighty, so that bring it back over to our slideshow here.
So with that being said, right, now all of a sudden the light bulb goes off with them. They go, okay, so because we purchased the promote, to basically buy likes through Facebook, our company is getting the exposure out there, and people are now clicking on that just to kind of hide themselves from other stuff that they're clicking on that they're being paid for. So long story short, we came back to this. We came back to the client with this and basically go, look, this is the problem. So now the problem is that, let's take a look at your user base. So we started to take a look at their user base, and their user base was probably somewhat legitimate. I mean, they probably had about 20,000, 25,000 real likes. The problem was now that they had 75% of their user base was people that were never going to engage with them regardless of what happened. So, and out of that 25,000 or 20,000 or whatever that case may be, most people don't always engage regardless. So with the lack of engagement, their reach had died. Yep. They actually said to us, so what do you guys suggest that we do? I mean, we know that you don't do Facebook, we know that you don't run Facebook campaigns. What do you suggest we do? And the suggestion was pretty harsh, but
we gave them really two suggestions, and Andrew kind of glanced over it, but it's really important that they recognize that we were not the Facebook guys, but they trusted us because of how much we had taught them in the interim between reaching this critical moment, that they turned to us to hire us for consulting with this. And it was pretty freaking cool, because it's the first time I've ever been hired for Facebook consulting. I think it's the first time Andrew's been hired for Facebook consulting. But we presented them with two action strategies, and one was kind of a joke. It was, well, pay Facebook more, not for more likes, but just take your ad budget for Facebook and put it into reach budget, try to gain truly organic likes through internal content distribution within the Facebook network.
Or we could really try and muscle it with the retargeting for Facebook and hope that that would bring enough of your, good user base back into your system that you could specifically target. Yep. And the third one was sort of the doomsday, which was, look, you know what? You can restart your Facebook page.
Yep. With that, also focus your Facebook advertising budget into strictly off-site content. Get people involved in-site, but also really focus your effort on Facebook marketing in your retail locations where actual consumers are, or you could actually verify that that is somebody who has not only expressed interest in your service and your products, but they're in your freaking location. Like it's a foolproof method. And with that,
well, what they basically decided they were going to do is they were going to go on their Facebook page. They were actually going to make a post. They asked all of their users to please follow them over to their new Facebook page, and really those that only engaged with them did.
Yep.
They engaged with us. We wound up doing a Facebook retargeting campaign. They wound up really, well, they're in the process because it was still only a short period of time ago. They are actually now going to start to roll out something right in the stores and actually provide a benefit for those people that join their Facebook page as far as, coupons, blah, 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 that sort of thing, and start a real grassroots campaign. But they started to realize right off the bat, even with a smaller user base, and they were able to roll this over very quickly, even with a smaller user base, their reach had, what was the numbers?
It was about from the time that they had been at their lowest point, right before they flopped over, they saw over a 3,500% increase, so 3,500% increase in engagement just in that short time period alone. And that's not just the people who just liked, and we counted that as an engagement. It was actually on the posts that they started making themselves. And I could only assume that that number will not continue to grow at that rate, but the number that they're at now will actually be their number.
It will be sustainable.
Sustainable running forward, correct.
So, it's really interesting if you really think about it, right? Facebook at that point really brings nothing to the equation.
Yep.
It's not like creating a YouTube video where the creator of the YouTube video winds up,
getting some money.
Getting some money, so they want to create good content or whatever else. Like I said, their engagement numbers were absolutely horrific to absolutely stellar. Now, granted, their Facebook numbers, I guess, in the big in a big dick competition, now all of a sudden they feel like they went from 100,000 to slowly growing that number back up again. But they're actually engaging with people that are actually going to be customers or are customers.
Yep.
So
Which
it's a
is,
completely different.
yeah, you always have to think, what's the point? You know, what am I getting out of this? What am I doing here? And the answer is, if you have 100,000 and your statistics are so low, then you're wasting your money and you're wasting your time. Let's see, Michael's saying basically anyone who paid for links were diluting their reach.
That's exactly what it is.
Why is there not a class action lawsuit against them? That's a very good question.
The point is that they promoted it
Inside their own network?
and no, you paid to promote it.
Correct.
They did in fact promote it. They did not pay anybody to click on the link, but because now that's front and center to people that want to try and mask the fact that they are being paid to get likes,
yep.
and they'll like yours just as well.
Facebook's not doing anything wrong.
They're really not doing anything wrong, except
they figured out a way to screw everybody out of their money. I mean, that's business. Facebook owns the network, and they're outright and open about how a post gets distributed through the network. So it's yeah, you know, it's completely legal what they're doing.
I don't think they wouldn't have grounds for nobody would have grounds for a class action lawsuit.
Yeah,
once again,
it's not deceptive business practice.
It's not like Google where where ads aren't being delivered and they're charging people for it. I mean, that would be a problem.
Yep.
Like, I think Google's going to face that problem, but it's not like.
Yeah, and well, I mean, not deleting fake likes is wrong. Likes from a fake account. Yeah, but you gotta figure out a program. It's not like Facebook is calling everybody up, going, "Are you a real person? Let me verify your address." They got to rely on an algorithm, and I know I would get pissed as hell if an algorithm came in and banned my account or removed all of my likes out of nowhere. So they got to really side with the consumers and the user base, because that's where their valuation is. That's what makes Facebook worth so much, is that it is a centralized hub of people. So if they start going into people's accounts and deleting people's accounts,
well, believe it or not, they did delete accounts. They did delete accounts,
but only the ones that the algorithm said, okay, you are past, like the percentage of you being a fake account is so
great.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, so once again, pretty interesting, right? Yeah, likes are worth zero at the bank. Well, likes are worth zero at the bank if they're not, if there's never the possibility that they'll actually convert to either a customer, user, or anything else. I mean, the moral of the story at the end of the day is, I would rather have 2,500 real people than 100,000 people that aren't going to do jack squat every time I post something.
Let's see. Justin's going, there's always terms for a class action. eBay just got sued for not making their fee schedule for keep listed items not clear enough. 2.1 million. I mean, sometimes when things could get a little sticky, then it's easier to settle, I don't know if it sounds like they settled, not that was the determination of the judge or however all that works. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just a lot cheaper to settle, and you start counting in legal fees and retainers for these huge corporations and the money behind it. Settling is usually the best option. But yeah, is there grounds for a class action lawsuit? There's grounds to sue anybody for anything. That's the beauty of America. But whether or not you're going to win or make money, that's a completely different question. So questions leads to questions, and if you all have any questions, now's the time to answer them. Now's the time for us to answer them, and for you to ask them. We got
if one is promoting a Hangout to promote a site, could a modest amount of fake likes help to promote the Hangout video ranking? That's not on
completely
Facebook.
different. Yeah, that'd be in YouTube, connecting YouTube to Google+. Yes, one of the biggest factors for the Hangouts is the amount of people who view it and like it, and I think one of the biggest factors is probably how many people showed up, even though nobody's really looking at that.
Yeah. No, I mean, ask Frank. Frank can tell you all that.
Frank would be the guy to ask. Do you have an opinion on posting software? I assume you're talking about like SendWire, OnlyWire, all the wires. Is that right?
Facebook groups.
Not sure if it's relevant, but how do you feel about SendWire? Anything that makes the job of the...
SendWire's been around for a long time. I mean, I started using SendWire years and years and years ago. You know, back in the day when, SendWire was actually pretty good because of the fact that, they had a lot of different networks in there. Backlinks were counting like it was going out of style. Now, honestly, I think you're better, the whole faking the social shit is just...
just asking for trouble. It's like...
I mean, once again, it's like any backlink, right? I mean, social media is just like any other backlink, okay? If there's nobody coming through that link, it's useless and potentially going to be labeled as spam. So, that's the reason why we always turn around and say, look, everybody's talking about, oh, well, PBNs are dead or PBNs this, PBNs... They're not, okay? A PBN is the same thing as a CNN article for the most part, okay? I mean, except the CNN article has a ton of authority, but the difference between an article like that versus your PBN is chances are some people are going to click through that article because there's a user base there. There's people on that website interacting with it, and Google's looking at the user metric flow versus, oh, well, it's a page rank 5. Mm-hmm. Well, if nobody's going to the site, Google doesn't give a rat's ass that it's a page rank 5.
Yeah.
I mean, they really don't. And honestly, I can't even imagine, I can't even believe that PageRank came out of my mouth considering that's such a dead issue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a dead issue within the Google algorithm, but it's a dead issue for you to even know what PageRank your site is. So that makes it a dead issue.
Yep. I mean, if you've ever gotten a brand new domain with no history up to the #1 spot at Google, then you'd know that for a fact. Let's see, a lot of SEOs are raving about SendWire and how great it is at stacking authority and ranking videos. Would you disagree it works? I think SendWire is good for what SendWire was built for, and this goes the same for OnlyWire. It's great for social media managers who need to have a centralized hub of content distribution and consumer engagement, and if it's used properly and in that fashion, then it will absolutely help you with organic stuff. But if it's used in a spammy way, like everybody else does, it's no different than Xrummer, really. Then it's just setting yourself up for a short, quick, maybe result, which is
Xrummer. You know what I laugh about? If you actually look at user profile links on any forums at this point, they're actually all no-indexed, which is kind of cool. All right, it says, in a previous Hangout, you talked about building a social media community around your site. Isn't that what systems like SendWire, OnlyWire are usable for that? Yes, that's exactly what they're... That's
absolutely.
But all SendWire really is... well, SendWire is a little bit different than OnlyWire, right? Because SendWire actually has, like, it'll have other people actually, like your shit and everything else. But once again, if the user metric flows are not going through your social media sites, then the social media site is basically worthless. So, everybody has to stop thinking about, backlinks the way that we even thought about them 2 years ago. It's about user metric flow, and anybody who doesn't really get it at this point, you're going to be left behind. If nobody is flowing from those links to your website, it's pretty easy for Google to be able to determine that it's spam, and they do. I mean, listen, I was working on a client that he had 3 different PBN networks that he had set up, okay? And what happened was he actually didn't renew the credit card on the, and we had it set up that he was actually paying for all of them. Didn't renew the credit card on, or didn't update the credit card from like Moniker, and there was a bunch of different domain, platforms that he was purchasing from. So they all fell off, which means that all the websites fell off too. And all of a sudden his website went right back up to the top. It was sort of like being watered down with all of these, bad PBNs that had no user metrics going through at all. He was flowing up through the ranks, couldn't believe that, he was stuck on like the top of, or the bottom of page 2 for a lot of his terms. As soon as those links fell off, boom, he shot right up to mid-page 1, if not, within the top 4. So just by that, because there was no user metrics at all, the penalty dropped off because, and boom, he flew right up to the top.
Ralph, just send in a support ticket and make sure that it's filed in the system. And if you have already, just respond to the one that you have right there. Let's see. I hear SynWire is good at rep management. If I want to get into this industry, would SynWire be enough? If not, what else would you suggest I would need to incorporate in order to be successful in that industry? Well, like any new industry you're going into, the first thing is research. It's a research phase. There's always
and it's not even and reputation management is not really. I mean, yeah, you got to actually look at that company. You got to look at what their grouping is. You got to look at all of that sort of stuff. I mean. Could a company, could a software like SynWire or OnlyWire? Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
It's a tool.
It just makes things that much faster.
Yeah, but it's like having a hammer. It's not going to build you a house, but it'll help you build a house.
Now, right, but if you have, you know, if you have a nail gun, it'll just do the job that much more efficiently.
Exactly, but the nail gun by itself is still not going to build a house.
No,
you
it's not.
Use it.
What I'm saying is it'll speed up the process.
Oh, absolutely,
but
absolutely. Let's see, Barry, your support ticket, got the number right here, and yeah, I'll make sure that Ben takes a look at it, and if you respond to it too, it'll pump it up into the top of the queue as well, so that would assist us. Let's see, with regards to the hosting, Gary's asking, yeah, I still want to do it. I've been waiting to have 10 people that are solid and on board. And it looks like we have about 8 right now. And then some people were like, well, I don't want to commit to a year, but unfortunately that's how it's got to work. Otherwise we got major problems because I don't need the server. I got 5 dedicated servers, and I got about 17 virtual servers. So what's the price of the hosting? The hosting is somewhere between $500 and $600 a month, and we're going to split that between 10 people, which gives ridiculous amounts of space and speed. All solid-state drives. They are not the newest generation chips, but they are last generation, not generation, but last year's processors, top-of-the-line processors for what they are. Really, really freaking good. Overkill for the box, and RAM through the roof. Yep, so somewhere between $50 and $60 a month. If we can get 10 people to commit for 12 months, then I will get that box built. So there is a thread on it. Where do we commit? I'm not going to have everybody sign a contract here. I just, you know, I trust you all. We've been doing this for, you know, Andy, it's been over a year, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
actually,
it's been over a year. We're in March. It was January 31st. We didn't even do a Sem-Easy birthday. We're going to have to do a belated Sem-Easy birthday at some point, just like us to be late. But yeah, I mean, we trust you guys. We know all you. We know where you all live.
I'll cry if I want to.
We got your PayPal address. We know how to track you down. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but if you guys can we assume the year commitment for 1 year is paid up front? No, I wasn't gonna do it like that. I was just gonna have the automated recurring billing set up for everybody, and then if you stop paying, I'm gonna have to call you on the phone and cry to you. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it would be monthly. I don't want anybody to feel like they gotta pitch forward the full $500 or $600 right up front. Happy anniversary! Thank you, thank you. Is there a thread about the hosting site build? Yes, there is, right in the forum. And changed up the colors of the forum because some people were saying it was hard to read, so that should be all good now. And that's about it. We got 2 minutes left for questions and answers. And if no more come in, then thanks for coming, everyone. Clear post meta. Do I need to do that after index assault? No, don't do that. That's only if you if you want to rebuild. Actually, not even if you want to rebuild. If you just want to remove all the videos and all records of index assault being in the database, then you could clear out the post meta. Let's see. What's the thread? What's the title thread for the group hosting? Do you remember? I think it was like it had Limestone in the title. So if you just search Limestone in the forum section, then you'll be able to find it. Yep. Michael's saying it's Limestone. Oh, it was the same person who was asking. It's Limestone Networks Group By for anybody who who's wondering. What's the wind speed velocity of a migrating swallow?
Blue.
Blue. And Frank probably has a joke to throw in there, but I'm not going to read it out loud. Say more happy anniversaries, happy birthdays. Fantastic webinar right on the dot. Thanks a ton.
You know what, Matt, put in a ticket and put my name on the ticket. It's Andrew, and I will personally look into it.
Yep. All right, sounds good. And now go to webinars turning yellow and saying we got 40 seconds left. So thank you, everybody. It's been a great webinar. Always a pleasure, and see you again soon.
What I am going to do is in reference to what we discussed today on Facebook, I'm going to put a thread on Facebook, and I'm going to ask people what they want for the next training.
All right, that sounds good. Sounds good, guys. So with that said, thanks for stopping by. Great audience today. Much appreciated. And happy SEOing. Peace out.